This is a JTP audio podcast.
Sometimes talking with friends feels like role-playing. Sometimes it feels like combat. Join us at the round table and roll initiative. This is Curmudgeons and Dragons. All right, hello and welcome back to Curmudgeons and Dragons. Guys, what's going on?
What is happening?
Konnichiwa, bitches.
Who we got at the table today? I mean, it's same people as every time, but let's introduce ourselves again.
Well, wait, do we get to be different people this time?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
you can be. I mean, if that's what you're diagnosed.
My name's Josie. And I've played D&D for a while.
My name is also Josie, and I also enjoy playing D&D.
My name is Josie as well. I'm 3 feet tall, but some people think I'm 300 feet tall.
They call me Dribble Bum.
Oh my god!
Literally, no one calls you that.
No,
not to your
no
face.
No one's ever
anyway.
called me that.
0 people. Well, I'm Jack, and I'm here, and I'm ready to do stuff.
Yeah, my name is still Justin.
I am the real Josie, the one and only.
Thank God. I think it's important people are reminded of who we are, and eventually they'll figure out why they care.
Well, they better fucking know who we are.
It's because I'm important and I have things to say.
Yes. Well, today we're going to say a lot of things. So today's episode, we decided to do some lower deep dives. We might make this a recurring thing. We'll see how that goes. But today we're going over a couple of the deity options for all you cleric players, and really anything else that has a deity.
Slash people that want to role play.
Oh yeah.
For all y'all
I
out
fucking
there.
hate clerics. If I'm being perfectly honest, going into this
Really?
Especially
Oh.
ones
I
that
hate
don't
clerics.
heal or
What
poop
a
themselves.
bold and controversial statement
I
right
don't
out
like
of the
clerics.
gate.
I don't like
Couple
playing them.
callbacks there.
Do you not like playing as them, or do you not like having them in your campaign?
I not in the campaign. I allow people to do whatever they want, but I don't really like playing a spellcaster in general. It just doesn't line up with my playstyle. But yeah, clerics in particular. I don't know why. I just don't care for them.
Which is funny because out of the handful of campaigns I played, I preferred playing clerics.
I just don't like healing. I don't like people relying on me. The only thing I want to rely on are my two fists.
Yeah,
I
fuck
want to hit
that.
stuff. Yeah.
I have the same problem with spellcasting classes, except I lack the organizational skills to really utilize my spells.
Yeah, I don't want to prep stuff.
That's so much work.
That's a lot of the reason why I don't like being a spellcaster.
Yeah, I don't like playing wizards for that reason. But
yeah, fuck wizards too.
I think clerics are an interesting right in the middle, because you can make them pretty aggressive, but as a support class, they have a lot to offer the party as a whole. So you yourself are not dealing several dice worth of damage, but people are making it to the next round because of you.
This is true. I'm partial to bards myself.
There's a little bit of cleric overlap in bards with the support spells and things like that.
They're
But
just
they
fancy
have,
clerics.
I mean, if you want to be a
just
cleric that
enough
sings, you can
spells.
just
They don't
do
have
that.
too many spells, but they don't have no spells.
Yeah.
You can have a little
That's fair.
razzle dazzle as a treat.
Yeah. I mean, really, man,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, warlocks, they got 2 spell slots. I love that.
And if you're not
I'm
casting
all
Eldritch
about-
Blast, you're not a real warlock. That's really
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
I'm
they get
all
2
about
spell
that.
slots, but they get as many Eldritch Blasts as they want. That's basically 100 spell slots.
No, man, the
Yeah.
warlock in the campaign that I'm a player in right now, yeah, all he does is cast Eldritch Blast and uses backbone.
Yeah, we know you're a warlock. Name one
get
other thing
it.
you could possibly do besides cast Eldritch Blast again.
Can you pop warlock and drop it?
Go unconscious periodically.
Yeah.
So,
Warlock things.
For my DM friends over here, so why would a player care about a deity?
Well, I mean, depending on, so if you're a cleric or anybody who's picking one, you get different things per different deities. Not even just from looking from a role playing aspect. When you channel divinities and things, there's different things that you can channel that'll happen. For instance, a sneak peek of mine is one of the things you can do is guided strike or war god's blessing. So basically, when you take a war domain, so it's based on your domain, you can use it to infuse for a physical strike that will pretty much never miss, those kind of things. So different deities have different abilities that come with them. I mean, you could also just pick a deity that you think is cool and pray to. That's kind of neat too.
Is it the deities that have the different abilities, or is it the domains though?
Well, so if Yeah, deities within a domain. So like war,
Yeah.
So like, but if you pick a deity in a different, so it is domains, but from
Yeah,
a
because you're
strictly
not
like just talking
worshiping
about
a love
deity.
goddess and being a war cleric. Like,
No, you're not doing that.
You've also got like the Theros campaign, which relies heavily on like the gods, and it introduces the piety system and stuff.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool to pick somebody that you can like quote unquote like pray to that has like different beliefs, and you can like pull your like role playing around that kind of belief in things.
yeah. I mean, like I said, like I made my very hard take a few minutes ago, but whenever I make characters, I play characters as opposed to DM very infrequently. But every character I make is typically pretty devoted to whatever deity I pick, and I just think it adds a lot more dimensions to what you can do with your character,
Totally.
how you play them. Like the current character that I'm playing worships the deity that I'm going to be talking about in this episode. And yeah, it's just it makes for an entirely different play style than just I stab the thing, I get drunk, I have sex with this prostitute.
Yeah,
Typical, D&D campaign things.
I also think it's kind of nice too because it helps from like a fleshing out like a DM standpoint. Like I've had campaigns that are even like short, like 15, 20 session campaigns that people will pick different deities that like don't get along with each other. They're different domains. And it's kind of cool. It's like, oh, this part of this country worships this and like this part worships this. So depending on where they find themselves in the campaign, they have like different storylines they can follow and stuff like that. So it adds like a nice like individualistic touch to people exploring and things like that.
Plus, NPCs can treat them very differently based on
absolutely.
what
I've had
insignias
times
they're
like they
wearing.
go to a city and they have like I had a cleric that had a very identifiable amulet of their like deity and like domain on their chest, and they went to a city that like did not like that deity, and like there was problems with them, like they weren't welcome in an inn. Like it was a cool little like personal touch, and like okay, you have to now role play being like an outcast in the society when like your playing partner is like worshipped when they're here.
Yeah, my ranger just stole a shield with with the deity that I'm going to be talking about later, with that insignia on it, and knowing that in certain areas it's going to not be worth the extra AC boost. We're sure trying to figure out cool like in-game ways to be able to cover up or proudly display the insignia, so we can we'll see what where it helps or hurts in role play.
Yeah, Bane's a dick. Sorry, Bane's a dick.
Objectively.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I found that out.
Allegedly.
I don't know. He's got some cool like his own history, kind of cool stuff.
He's the god of tyrants and dictators.
We'll get to that. So obviously clerics, what other classes would really need to get into their deity?
Druids.
Yeah, druids have them. It's pretty. I honestly think it's pretty much just cleric and druids from like a kind of spellish standpoint. I mean, you have like
I've not played a paladin.
Like,
does paladin have to get into that?
Well,
also?
I always think like
no, that's an oath. It's an oath to an order as opposed to
okay.
So like you can call them like pseudo deities. Same thing with like having like a familiar or like a pact as a warlock and stuff.
Yeah, well, they devote themselves to an ideal as opposed to any like organized conscious thing.
So you're just talking about play mechanics right now, though, right?
Let's talk about it from both. Well, first as play mechanics, like strictly from game rules standpoint. What classes actually need to know.
I would argue as well that a lot of fighters would probably tend towards religious orders just for the purpose that they serve in the world. But like a lot of champions or cavaliers, I think, could very much benefit from adding like a deity and worship of a deity into the style of roleplay that you do.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of
fighters not one of the classes I would have thought of.
Yeah, if you pick like a deity, like you basically are saying like you live your life devoted to that deity and they're trying to do things for them. So again, from I guess from sort of a play style thing, if you're a good DM, you'll realize that they're playing towards that deity, and you might throw in the flavor of like, oh, your deity smiles upon you, and like this hit turned into this hit, and like you get a special blessing for things. Like it opens up a lot of doors the more people flesh out their characters, in my opinion. And while it might not be like a direct thing you can pull from like any like 5e/5 book, I think that it does influence playstyle a lot if you have like a good group, because there will be different things that will happen based on the deity that you worship.
Now, how would a warlock's pact differ from a cleric's deity?
I think the warlock would be a class that would be fundamentally opposed to any sort of worship for a deity, just because they have basically like bound themselves in service to almost an anti-deity, like another otherworldly, godly powered thing.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing you can realize, and so, I mean,
Isn't that just
from,
a
like,
deity with extra steps?
That was my thought.
It is,
Because there are evil deities.
Functionally, but
Yeah.
it would be
So-
hard
The
to
other thing-
worship a deity and have like a patron at the same time.
The other thing you run into is, I would say most players now are playing 5e rather than like 3.5 or 3. And back in 3 is when it actually made a difference from play styles, because there was like, they had to be within like the step of the gods alignment. And you could have like, lawful, like, neutral, like there were different kind of clerics. But in 5, like it almost is just strictly a role playing kind of thing.
Yeah, I still keep that rule in games that I run, that whatever deity you worship, you have to be either one of the alignment like modifiers the same.
Yeah, it feels
Yeah.
like that. That just feels right.
Yeah, and then if you step out, then you can't cast spells anymore. Sorry,
Probably
cleric.
super
Yeah.
hard to even role play as being the opposite, unless you're just not taking your deity's alignment into consideration. Because if you're trying to worship a lawful good god, and you're trying to be neutral evil or chaotic evil, and trying to be
that ain't gonna work.
more probably more commonly is there will be the other way around.
I mean, it also depends on what you're going to do with your gameplay too. Like, you could have a character that starts out as one alignment, but through the work with their deity, you have them move towards that other alignment, which is always fun to do. Like, have life altering things happen to your character that change the way that they think about the world.
Have any of you guys dealt with a player losing faith in one deity and joining another?
I can't say that I have.
I haven't per se. No, I mean, I have had players have to do many things to change faiths, like if their alignments shift too far, or like quest to regain their deity's favor. But yeah, I've never had a player that's like actually tried to play out a constant crisis of faith.
Yeah, I'll also say, like, this is definitely I'm making a generalization about the D&D community. I feel like when you pick a deity, more times than not, you're picking it because your class calls for it, not because you really want to role play it. So once it's chosen, you kind of make like the minimal things to stay within line. But no one, I haven't at least met people who really, really get into it and like follow it like to a T, and like, or may want to change based on like story stuff. Deities, for the most part, are like, oh, I picked this because my class said I should pick it, and I kind of loosely follow what they believe in, but like I don't really care that much about it.
Yeah, I would agree.
Not like Cody and his cleric that doesn't heal.
Again, very general statement I'm making.
No, I think you're right on there. But I think that could be an interesting arc to explore. If any DMs want to take that idea and run with it.
Yeah.
So let's get into some of the research that we did. You guys ready?
You want to roll for initiative?
Obviously, we're going to roll for initiative. All right, we got
today's initiative roll is brought to you by dndbeyond.com.
No, it's not. That was last episode.
We'll get him one day.
It's
Yikes.
actually brought to you by Grog the Cat.
Yes.
An absolute delight of a being.
It's a shame you guys aren't seeing the video that we're seeing recording
just
this.
So cute. I can't
Shout
get
out to
over
Grog.
it.
It works out for my thing. Well, also, I will now be going last because unless someone ties me, I rolled this many.
Nice.
Oh, goody.
I rolled this many.
Yeah, holding up one finger is awesome for an audio only show
I rolled
without video.
this many.
Yeah, that's
That's a better way.
I feel like if someone, if I said I rolled this many and I'm going last, people could probably make the assumption that's not a big number.
I have a 15.
We got 9 over here.
I got a 3.
I am
Josie's got a
first.
big
then
old
today.
3.
I feel like we either go like me, Josie, Jason, Justin, or now we're going backwards. That's the only order we can have.
The
I've
first
been last
the
the
first 2
last
episodes were
2
actually all in the
episodes.
same order.
The first, and now it's the opposite. It's the opposite order.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it is.
I am so
It's
nervous.
fixed.
I
It's
have to
fixed.
set the tone for the whole episode.
That's okay.
Oh,
Take a
no.
deep
I mean,
breath.
in all fairness, I feel like I'm finishing with the strongest one since it's about cats and sex.
It's
so
actually, I think it's going to be fine.
I'm so
Yeah. I think
Why
it's
is
going to be
Grog
fine.
running away?
because he's talking about cats and sex.
Yeah.
Cat.
He doesn't
sex.
want to have the talk with his dad.
He's not ready yet. He's a young boy.
That's
He's
just weird.
only 3 years old.
It's far too young.
Anyway,
I gotta wait till he's at least 5.
I think we'll be okay here because the document with all my notes on it that I pulled up is only blocking Josie's face. So that should take some of the nervous
Perfect.
energy out of here.
Wow, lucky you.
Yeah, so I guess to start it off, my deity for this week was from the Forgotten Realms setting. It is Timora. the chaotic good goddess of good fortune, also known as Lady Luck. I guess just to go through, she was one of the few in the guide that had a like actual creation myth behind her, which is actually a super fun story. So I'll go through that. I guess originally before some stuff that happened in the Forgotten Realms that I didn't bother to read about because I have other things to do. There was a goddess
don't.
of. Yeah, you're right, but hey, man,
I didn't bring you on the show to lie. All right,
don't narc. So the original in like Dawn era, I guess, goddess of both good and bad luck was a goddess named Tyche, which, as I found out, is also an ancient Greek goddess of good fortune and prosperity. But in this world, Tyche was the goddess of both good and bad luck and had a brief love affair with the god of spring, birth, and renewal, Lathander. And I guess they were happy for a while, and then eventually Lathander was like, "Hey, you know what? You know what would be fun? What I'm going to do is I'm going to start this bloody civil war amongst all of the gods of this realm." And she was like, "Nah, dude, that doesn't sound like a good idea." So I guess Tyche kissed Lathander with misfortune. So I guess she just like fucking cursed him and left the realm of the gods to go travel the mortal world. One day, she's walking down the path and she happens upon a bush that has a very beautiful rose stemming out of it, like an unparalleled, beautiful rose. And she tries to pick it up and it won't budge. So she's like, "Yo, fuck you." And she curses the rose with bad luck, causing the stem of the rose to break clean off. And she's like, "Oh, cool, that worked." So she sticks it behind her ear. And I guess I have to backtrack a second here and say that she wanted the rose because she thought that the rose was like a manifestation of her lover's wish for them to get back together. But apparently the rose, this is where it gets interesting, was a manifestation of Moander, who is a now dead god of corruption and decay. So when she sticks the rose in her ear, the stem begins to grow into her ear and set all these like nasty, gross roots inside her body, causing her form to rot from the inside out. A little while later, it's pretty fucking gross.
too bad she's not the god of botany.
Yeah, unfortunately. That is some bad luck for the goddess of luck.
Yeah.
So I guess a little while later, she goes home and she gets back to her place, and her friends, I think it's pronounced Saloon, the goddess of the moon, along with her ex-boyfriend Lathander and another god, Azuth, who is the god of wizards, apparently.
As if.
Yeah, Azuth.
Sorry.
It's
Okay.
So I guess these three are like hanging out at her, condo or whatever, waiting for her to come back. And she walks in the door, and Saloon immediately starts weeping because she's just like a walking, shambling zombie that has like, nasty, putrid like roots of plants growing out of her body. And before Tyche can even get a word out, Saloon just summons like a radiant damage whip of light and just bisects her, like cuts her in half from head to groin.
Wow.
And after that,
seems like an overreaction.
Yeah, it seems a little
Tiniest
aggressive to
bit.
me.
Yeah, that's a toxic relationship. I'm glad she's out of it now.
Yeah,
Half of her is.
Yeah, I feel like I can honestly say that that thought has never crossed my mind with anybody that I've dated. But I guess
we've all thought it. It's just toxic
gods.
to do it.
Yeah, whatever.
Who hasn't thought about summoning a radiant damage whip of light and just bisecting your girlfriend
on a daily basis?
Yep.
I guess that's an awkward laugh for me. So
one time.
So this bisected corpse apparently gives birth, as it's cut in half, to two very little identical full-grown women who look exactly like Tyche. One of them's like very pretty with fair hair and is radiating goodness, and the other one is also like super hot with black hair, but is filled with dark malice and ill will. And that
Was
is
her name
how
Josie?
I think so.
I am a ray of
I can picture
goddamn
her as Josie.
sunshine. Look at me. I am glowing.
You're a tiny full-grown woman, though.
Be that as it may.
I guess from this, the two new goddesses of fortune, Timora, the fair-haired daughter and the new like goddess of good luck, and her twin sister Bishaba, who is known as, I shit you not, the unpleasant daughter, which no reason she's the fucking like evil god.
That's
since
just
you're
mean.
calling her the unpleasant daughter.
That's just mean.
Is also known as the Maid of Misfortune. And these two just constantly fight each other over all matters of chance, from like the rise and fall of nations to coin flips.
That's actually real
Timora's
fun.
it seems fun. Yeah, these just two sisters that hate each other's guts.
Imagine having godly powers and wasting it on flipping a coin to
Yeah, on
tails.
that.
You guys clearly do not have sisters.
Zimzalabim tails.
I am in
you.
fact an only child.
Just to fuck with the Super Bowl.
I would fight my sister over like who got to sit in what seat in the car, or who got to sit in the like branch of a tree. I would like push my sister out of the way to go sit in a certain branch of a tree, and she would like cry and try to pull me out of it.
Does your sister have radiant light hair by any chance?
No.
Well, to be fair, what was she not doing in the kitchen?
She's actually a better cook than I am. But she's a mouthy little bitch, and I know she's never going to listen to this podcast.
That's what I'm getting at. And all right, so I guess to get into what Timora actually entails, the motto of Timora's worshippers is "Fortune favors the bold," and I guess all of her worshippers, it's mostly adventurers, degenerate gamblers, and other people who are very daring in their careers and daily lives. Most people, even laymen, will pray to Timora in situations where good luck could be helpful, but it's apparently really, really bad to pray to Timora in an instance where you're trying to avoid bad luck, because that's her sister's domain, and apparently she'll get very, very upset. I was a little confused by that. I think praying for good luck and praying for not bad luck are fundamentally the same thing.
Don't you dare pray for my sister to fuck off, you piece of shit.
Yeah, so if you pray
How
the wrong
dare
one,
you?
Yeah,
that's her job.
Yeah, that's my job.
Yeah, but I guess if you pray to the wrong one, you'll piss off both of them, and then you'll have
don't
two
come to
goddesses
me
angry
asking
at you.
for my sister either. I will be very cross.
Oh, I've been drunk in bars and done that by accident. Yeah, that's a bad idea, no matter who
you
it
don't
is.
want to do that.
No,
Goddess
you
or
never-
not.
You never want to say the wrong sister's
That's a bad
name,
idea to
man.
do to mortals. I definitely wouldn't do it to a goddess.
I'm just happy my wife has a brother, so I don't say his name by accident. You know what I'm saying?
Well, hey, man, don't say never.
Not again.
Yeah,
Never
not
say
again.
never.
You know, he is pretty cute.
Not this time.
As Ian Fleming said, never say never again.
Yes. Also, Justin Bieber.
I mean, yeah, all right.
Also, Connor For Real from the movie Popstar. Never stop, never stopping.
Never stop.
I think that's the better Bieber. Anyway, the way that Timora's faith go, they don't actually have like official houses of worship or many priests, because I guess the philosophy of the goddess herself, she doesn't really stress the need for intermediaries. She's like, I mean, if you need good luck, yeah, you'll just deal straight up with me. I don't need like a go-between middleman to deal with you. But it is not uncommon for shrines to Timora to be erected at gambling parlors. And oftentimes priests of Timora will just show up at these gambling parlors and set up chapels.
I could just picture like a little stone fountain with her like mounted on the wall of a casino for you to like flip pennies into. I could see
like
that at the Tropicana.
Yeah, just a little statue like, hey, toss a penny in and you'll win your next hand.
Maybe something good will happen.
Yeah,
Try
maybe.
it.
Who knows?
Or
And
you
then-
just lose a bunch of money in a dirty fountain.
And then
Did you-
hopefully right next to it, there's an altar to her sister. Like, hey, toss a coin in here for something bad to not happen to you.
Or for something bad to help happen to someone else.
That's so like classic mafia, like threatening, not threatening.
Yeah.
Maybe something bad won't happen to you.
Yeah.
Oh, those would 100% be the
Did you
ones in the
did they
casinos.
come across anything about you said the priest would come to the gambling houses and set up shrines to her?
Yeah, it seems as if
Were
like,
these priests like inherently corrupt and like kind of in on the gambling, or did they just see the gambling as an outlet to luck and
no, I
worship her
think
that
it
way?
would just draw devotees and clerics and priests and whatnot of that faith there, because that's a place that a lot of people who are trying to enjoy the goodwill of the goddess are established. and it's a way to spread the faith.
Okay, so they're doing it in good faith then.
Yeah. Because aside from not having like a large amount of clergy, there are a lot of worshippers of Timora who form like little cults and kind of take it to the extreme. Like they just do outlandishly dangerous and challenging things, and if they succeed, they dedicate it to the valor and the glory of Timora. And I guess I mean there's some other stuff that isn't crazy important, but there is a fun little factoid here that I thought was fun. Apparently, the halflings with their lucky racial trait are big worshippers of Timora, and they believe that as the goddess often manifests as a halfling when she appears to them, that she's actually a halfling goddess that has tricked all of the tall races of the world into worshiping her as well. So it's
Good
like a
shit.
racial goddess that has ascended to like the Sirius pantheon.
I like
Josie's
that
like,
they
how
woke
did
up
she do
there.
that? Just,
Yeah, so she's small and she pretended she's tall.
I am adequately
That
heighted.
seems like
Josie's just
Yeah, for
furiously,
Wolverine.
taking,
look into.
furiously taking notes
I
right
am
now.
tall enough to be Wolverine, and that's all I needed. So
Congrats on
me,
being 5'2".
5'3". It's fine.
Ish. Ish.
Don't you ish me.
It's 5'2" 3/4. They
Listen,
round up for you.
Listen, the doctor measured me. They said I was 5'3".
Ish.
So there.
Ish.
No, I'll kill you. I will end you.
But I mean that mostly sums her up. But I guess something that could be interesting too. My current character that I'm playing, he's a tiefling rogue. He is a pretty serious worshiper of Timora, and I didn't know a lot of this before I read it over the last couple of days. But the way I've always role played that the time that I've been playing him is I carry I have like a big bag of like foreign currency, and I found a 7-sided coin in like this bag of like old money that I have. So anytime I want to make a decision with the character, I actually flip that coin and kind of just let his faith dictate what he's going to do purely
That's
by
neat.
chance.
That's fun.
And yeah,
Line
it's
on
made
luck.
for some very very interesting things. In last night's session, I actually led a Marxist revolution on a cruise boat.
Always
Just
a
'cause
good
the goddess
time.
told-
Casual Marxist revolution.
Yep.
They're always casual.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Show
you
up in
just gotta,
formal attire. They're going to come for you.
Oh, they did. It went very well.
what kind of coin was that was 7-sided?
I believe it's a 10 peso coin from Mexico from like the early 1970s.
When you said 10-sided, I was thinking like a die. Not
Oh yeah,
like
no, it's just a straight up like
the
it's
like flat.
it's a coin in the
blank
shape of like
edges.
a septagram or whatever. It's got like 7 edges.
Yeah, the two-dimensional 7-sided.
Yes.
I did a quick little Google search while you're doing that. The half-pound 50 pence coin in
I've
Britain
got one of those.
is
too,
also 7-sided, but there's a
Yeah.
few of them.
There's a few, yeah.
That's
Oh, I have
that's
one
kind
of
of cool.
those somewhere.
I juggled stuff too.
You too can jugo.
I jeweled myself.
So because you're playing a character that is following her, do you think with this extra research you may role play a little bit differently now?
I think yeah. Well, I mean, I play the character as if he's a pretty intense worshiper. So I might do some of the stuff I read about. There's I could go on forever about like the different orders that are devoted to worshiping her, but there's one, like I said, that just does the most insane shit. And if they succeed, it's like just proof that the goddess is like blessing them. And that definitely seems like the character that I'm playing because he just does the most outlandish, dangerous stuff.
So the luckier and like random, or it's not a word, or more random they are, the more they think that God favors them.
Yeah, as long as they succeed.
That's kind of I like that.
But
if
also
they
as a
fail-
rogue,
if they fail,
And
do
no
the-
gambler.
Do the
As a
others
rogue-
just assume that one was weak in faith?
probably. But as a rogue, with the double proficiency and stuff, I mean, most of the stats that I actually use have like over +10s. So it's like, yeah, I can attribute that to his faith as opposed to any inherent skill that he actually has. He's just very,
That's
very
neat.
lucky.
He's like, oh, Joey broke his leg skateboarding last week. He should have prayed harder.
Or he was
I know
praying to
some
the wrong
people like
god.
that.
Right.
It's a good point.
The sister's it's her sister's fault.
You got to
Yeah.
pray. Yeah, you got to pray to land that kickflip, and you also have to pray to not break your leg.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a lot of praying.
Too much.
Do the old
And all
720
while
the
you're
old
in the
720
air.
double pray.
Oof. Sick 50-50 pray.
I can't
Yeah.
think that fast.
No.
I
The new
can't
Tony-
think full
the new
sentences
Tony Hawk's just
that
took a
fast.
completely different
I can
direction.
have that
Yeah.
thinking that fast though.
Tony Hawk's pro prayer.
The Tony Hawk remaster is just it's just a church RPG now.
Yeah, you get a nice quick QTE before you gotta before you land to see if you actually
The
land.
Father, the Son, the Holy Kickflip. Amen.
Woof.
Justin, that was awesome. Thank you.
Hey man, thanks. Yeah,
That was neat.
It,
I enjoyed that.
It was
But no
interesting.
one made you do a book report in a long time.
No, yeah.
Oh,
I really liked how it's just like, hey, this is like a random thing that happens. Like people think like luck is a random thing, but there's a whole god devoted to it.
And a god devoted to misfortune as well. And they
Mhm.
both came from
I assume
Sine,
most of them are from Misfortune.
And they're
Yeah.
probably both
the
kind
same
of bitchy
person.
to each other.
Mhm.
Do you think they share a hive mind?
Well, they're from the same deity, so it's probably like yin and yang stuff, like just
Because you
diamond-
said they were
like a
like
heads and
two
tails.
smaller Taikis, but like one was all golden and white. One was the white and gold, and the other one was the blue and black.
It's white and gold. And if you say anything different, you don't know what you're talking about.
I literally every goddamn time I look at that dress, it starts out white and gold, and then before my eyes, it turns blue and black, and I can't get it to revert. I don't understand.
Oh, the dress thing. Okay, I was like, where the fuck did you get blue from? But yeah, the dress meme.
I can't.
remember
we can't
that.
Go there.
I've
We have
literally
to.
never seen it as
Don't worry about
white
it.
or gold.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, don't care.
It just stresses
Alright.
me out.
It's whatever.
With,
It's whatever color the pixels in the photo say that they are.
Right.
I'm small and panicky.
We know.
I think you're next, big guy.
Yeah, let's do this thing. So I took on Bane,
Big boy.
because my character just came across the shield with the black hand on it, and I want to know who I just stole stuff from and who I'm pissing off. And after reading about it, kind of wish I didn't piss them off.
I just want to interject real quick too. Bane and Timora are apparently very mortal enemies.
that makes sense.
Yeah, they very much do not care for each other.
Well, Bane likes having absolute total control.
So yeah,
And-
luck is probably not his favorite thing in the world.
Luck is like the worst thing that can happen if you are in charge. If you're trying to control every bit of everything, he's an absolute meticulous planner. His followers aren't necessarily like, go out and do bad things. It's more just following his plans, and his plans are to eventually do bad things. But they're all about just following the meticulous step by step things that he's planning. He's literally like eons ahead of every move of everything. And luck is like the one thing that can really throw a wrench in that. So yeah, that makes total sense to me. But Bane is the god of hatred, fear, and tyranny. He was first introduced in the Forgotten Realms campaign, which I found out. Now, do you guys think which Bane came first? Bane from D&D and Forgotten Realms, or Bane from Batman?
I'm
It
gonna
has to be
Batman.
D&D. I mean, it's been a long. No, D&D's
No,
been around so much longer.
Forgotten Realms is not as old.
Batman
as
goes back to
all
like the
D&D is,
40s.
though.
Yeah,
Or
Batman's
the
from the
60s, I think.
40s.
But
Is it the
Batman goes back way
50s?
predates.
Batman Bane, I think, came out. It was like late 70s, early 80s. I think was his first.
Anybody else?
Reveal. And Forgotten
guess
Realms
it's,
is fairly new. Well, not
Nope.
like new.
Bane is a
new.
No.
fictional
Oh my God.
supervillain appearing in American comic books.
Well, don't
published
look
by
it
DC,
up.
created by Chuck
Don't
Dixon.
look it up.
I'm looking it up.
In
He made his debut in Batman
1993.
Vengeance of Bane number
The whole
one.
point is I looked it up.
bitch.
I was trying to see if you guys knew.
Oh, I thought you were
Oh.
asking us as a question.
No, I was
I
trying
was
to see
like,
if you
I'm
guys
not
knew. I
that
was trying to
smart.
throw a
I
fun
gotta-
little thing in this and
No.
have a fucking podcast for 2
Listen,
seconds.
I didn't
Fuck
say
me,
the
I
year,
guess,
though.
right?
I didn't say the year.
Rabble, 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 rabble.
I panicked.
I didn't say the year.
I had war flashbacks to being in the gifted and talented program. I was like,
I still
have to
think
know
it's.
the
I mean,
answer. I gotta know.
I still think it's. I think
Try to
it's
have a
D&D.
little
I
bit
didn't-
of fun. You guys Cody all over me, all
No,
right?
that's right. I coated your pants. Call back.
All right, Smarty Pants.
Well, which one is it?
Which one came first?
I think it's the
Your
Batman Bane.
mom.
So I know when Batman came out just from looking it up, but I still believe in D&D over Batman.
So I looked it up, so I can't answer.
D&D came first by about 5 years.
Which
Really?
means that it was like 87 or 80, 88.
It was 80. Yeah,
Forgotten
just-
Realms came out in 87.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
first time Bane came out was 93.
Yep.
All right.
Yep,
Sorry, I ruined your fun, Dad.
I'm not.
No, I
I
got the yellow people
enjoyed
though,
it.
so that was cool.
Please come back after you get milk and cigarettes.
Dad.
Please get oat milk.
But the gods from the Forgotten Realms campaign were first published in Dragon Magazine number 54, which was released. Is there not a date on this thing? October 1981
Damn.
is when.
Wait, and that was episode 54?
issue 54 of Dragon Magazine.
Whew. So, dude, that
October
Deities been
81.
out for a minute.
This is just the first time that these gods were even mentioned. There's an article here, and you can find this article. Go to ANN Archive. I'll drop a link in the show notes, so you can go ahead and read this also, because there's a lot of really cool stuff in here. But page 5, 6? One of the first things in here
69
is an article written by Ed Greenwood himself called "Down to Earth Divinity: One DM's Design for a Mixed and Matched Mythos." And it kind of goes into the role that gods and deities play in a role-playing game, and then lists every single god from D&D up until that point.
Wow.
Lists a whole bunch from that are human deities, much smaller list that are elemental lords and cults of the beast. But it lists not only their name, but their nicknames and titles, what portfolios they carry, their alignment, their rank as a god. Could be a demigod, lesser god, or a handful of greater gods. And what their home plane is. So Bane, nickname title Lord Bane, or the Black Lord, holds a portfolio of God of Strife, Hatred, and Tyranny. He is a lawful evil greater god. There's only a handful of greater gods in this thing. But yeah, really cool table, really cool article. Highly recommend you click on that link and go check that out. But we'll just get into the quick history on how he became a god. And a lot of this really reminded me of Kratos from God of War, where you have a mortal who seeks a godliness, wants to get the powers of a god, and puts himself through trials in order to ascend to a god. So I'm just going to read straight from the history here. In the indefinite past, Bane was a member of the Dead Three, a triad of mortals sworn to achieve godhood. Bane, Baal, and Merkel forged an unholy pact, agreeing that they would work together to seek ultimate power or die in the attempt. Over the length and breadth of the realms they strode, seeking powerful magic and spells and defying death at every turn. No matter what monster they confronted or what spells they braved, the three mortals emerged unscathed at every turn. Eventually, the trio destroyed one of the 7 lost gods, Borim, and the Lake of Boiling Mud, and they each seized a portion of Borim's divine essence for themselves. The trio then journeyed into the Grey Waste and sought out the castle of Bone to confront Jurgle. The three approached the god Jurgle and threatened him for the godly powers. Jurgle, all-powerful to the point that he had long ago wished to step down from the throne, asked, "Who among you shall rule?" And the trio immediately fell into fighting amongst themselves. Jurgle proposed that they solve this problem by bowling skulls of his liches. They literally went bowling and tried to figure out who was going to be the supreme ruler.
It's pretty badass.
It was described in a couple different books as just games of skill, but in other books was specifically bowling skulls.
This is like a fun Friday night,
right?
What's the bad guy in Highlander's name?
Not Highlander.
Sean Connery.
Like it's like you're again or you're a goal or something. That's just how I've always pronounced it in my head.
So Jack, you're Mr. Google Pants. So let me go check that out.
The Kurgan.
The Kurgan. Okay, no, so it just sounds familiar.
Jack's like, already did.
Google Foo.
Yeah, this Jurgen guy just reminds me of, or Jurgle reminds me of Clancy Brown from Highlander.
Good old Jurgle the Kurgle. It sounds like if you just say it with a
Jurgens the Kurgans.
Yeah, Kurgle. It sounds like a Murloc fucking.
Yeah. So not only was Bane kind of the leader of the Dead Three and kind of the mastermind behind it, but also clearly the best bowler. So it turned out that Bane bowled the farthest and was thus able to choose his domain. And he said, quote, "As winner, I choose to rule for all eternity as the ultimate tyrant. I can induce hatred and strife at whim, and all will bow down before me while in my kingdom." He
What
claimed
an
the portfolios of
What a
tyranny, hatred, and
douchebag.
strife, right? I mean, if you're going to go for power, I mean, that's power.
I guess go for all of it.
but like I don't know. You're right. Think of the parties.
So that he was immortal, and actually, so were Baal and Merkel.
There's a lot of Forgotten Realms gods that were formerly murdered. Cyric and Kelemvor are also former mortals.
Mm-hmm. Baal and Merkel we may cover on a future episode, but they have really awesome histories also. And there's just a ton of information here, but what I thought was cool was that Bane's servants, you can be a war cleric and take on an evil alignment and be a servant of Bane. It says Bane prefers to keep to the shadows, allowing his servants to carry out his intricate plans. He has no tolerance for failure and seldom thinks twice about submitting even a loyal servant to rigorous tortures to ensure complete obedience to his demanding and regimented doctrine.
What a loose, cool guy.
I don't know if these are like rules or kind of just a list of
Hey man, everything in D&D is guidelines as opposed to hard rules. So
not for Bane. Not for Bane. He demands absolute
To the letter.
yes. But
To
these are kind of
the
the
letter.
these are kind of like the doctrines of serving Bane. It is serve only Bane, fear him always, and make others fear him even more than you do. The Black Hand always strikes down those who stand against it in the end. Defy Bane and die, or in death find loyalty to him, for he shall compel it. Submit to the word of Bane as uttered by his ranking clergy, since real power can only be gained through service to him. Spread the dark fear of Bane, and it is the doom of those who do not follow him to let power slip through their hands. So the followers of Bane and Bane himself, the reason that you would worship a god like this and actually, go out of your way to go seek out his favor is a quest for power. And they see that, Bane went against gods and got power for himself. And by following him is a direct road to get power. So as an evil aligned war cleric, be a great reason to follow him.
or to kill Batman.
He just sounds so intense.
Yeah, again, like very, very Kratos. There's a lot of Kratos in that story.
Yeah, big time.
Going and punching gods and
I feel like a lot of people would worship him just like to be spared by him as well.
Yes, to be
Yeah.
spared.
For sure.
It's like, oh yes, sir, yes, tithings, yes, please don't step on my house.
I think he would see through that immediately though. And he doesn't want followers who are just there to not die. He wants followers that will help him carry out very intricately laid plans.
That's true, but I think he would still like cowering people to pay tithings to him.
You do need underlings.
Mhm.
And when you first become a follower of Bane, there is a hierarchy. There is ranks to it. And I have that chart here. You start off, they literally just call you a slave.
Oh,
Jesus.
If you
See?
prove yourself, and it doesn't take long, but you can become the watchful brother or sister.
Ah.
That sounds a little better than a
And-
slave.
After that, you can become a deadly adept, a hooded
Fuck.
menace, a trusted servant, a black fang, a villing whip, or a striking hand. And you can
The fuck
ascend
is
your
this,
way.
Nixium?
Kind of.
there's no
If you can ascend your
pedophilia
way
here.
all the way up into the rank of deep mystery, then you can kind of get to the inner circle. And a lot of these titles are self-imposed, but the title options here are Lord and Lady of Mysteries, Imperceptor, Lord and Lady of the Hand, High Inquisitor, Grand Bloodletter, Dark Imperceptor, Vigilator. And if you ascend to the high rank there, you can become a High Imperceptor. And that is kind of the right hand to Bane himself.
Hand
And
of
these
the
are
king.
kind of the priesthood titles. Like I said, they are self-imposed titles, but you need others in that circle to recognize you as that title.
Let's say I'm just going to pick the top one and be like, this is what I am now.
Yeah, what's the right hand to Bane called?
A High Imperceptor,
High-
but you have to
I
go.
got your high imperceptor right here.
Oh my
Death
goodness.
hands.
So you gotta be an Imperceptor and then a Dark Imperceptor before you can be a High Imperceptor.
This is my imperceptor.
Yeah, but I
This
thought
is my
that.
dark imperceptor.
Hey man, in about an hour I'll be a high imperceptor.
Hey yo.
Hey,
Now,
this is
Yeah,
what
yeah.
dreams are
Bane is super
made of.
interesting, man. It's very
Super interesting.
dude, he's an intense dude.
Oh yeah.
I can see the parallels because I mean, all right, so for all you listeners out there, I assume at least one of you plays the Elder Scrolls. I can see the parallels to Molag Bal.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I could definitely see how there's probably a basis there.
Yeah, actually he was based on loosely, the original design was based loosely on, and I tried looking this up and I couldn't find anything on it. There's a Babylonian god, Druaga.
Oh, that's what Dracula is in Blade Trinity.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
In
I'm
that
guessing it's some sort
god-awful
of like
movie.
draconic god. Now I tried looking up. I tried searching for Druaga. I looked up Babylonian Druaga. I looked up Druaga god, and the only things I got over and over again was this Japanese RPG called Babylonian Castle Saga,
That makes sense. I mean, there's
in
not
which
a lot of Babylonian
Druaga
people on
was
the internet,
was a
so-
character. Cannot find anything on any actual mythology. So if you got some information on Druaga for me, I'll take it.
I mean, isn't Babylonian like a language people are still like translating and learning how to speak and shit? Like,
Have you been on Facebook for more than 5 minutes? People are doing that with English.
No, I only go on Facebook to talk to you three. So
Yeah,
I
even that
go
not
on
worth it.
Facebook to wake myself up in the morning because if you get to a certain level of agitated, you can't stay in bed.
Josie
It's
posts something
helpful.
like every 3 minutes or she'll die.
that is accurate. Yes.
She has one of the most active feeds I've ever seen.
I just it'll be like 2:00 in the morning. I'll be like, I can't sleep. Like, let's see what's on here. And then I'll just like post 40 or 50 news articles and I'll be like, all right, it's time for bed. Then I go out, wake up in the morning and I'm like, what's there to be angry about to get me out of bed? There's another 40 or 50 articles for me to be like, well, shit.
I only use social media for like Sopranos memes.
I literally use it to get myself out of bed.
Topical. So my question for you guys is, clerics are usually seen as, clerics and paladins are usually seen as being devout towards the light and trying to be the good guys. Usually, at least
not inherently.
Stereotypically or even comically or whatever. So how would you play a cleric of Bane or any other evil cleric?
I feel like you just have to be like a battle cleric at that point.
Well, there's the Dungeon Master's Guide has an adaptation for that, the Death Domain cleric.
Yeah.
Death and War were the ones that came up a lot.
Yeah, Death it's like the Oathbreaker Paladin. It's like the class that they become if the character becomes evil. If you're not running.
Yeah.
Evil.
Okay. Yeah. Fair. Totally forgot. I haven't played a Paladin in a long time. I forgot about Oathbreaker.
Fuck Paladins too. I don't like them either.
I think you just like being hard.
Yeah. You like to wear plate and you like the light. Fuck you.
I'm a rogue and fighter guy.
We don't want to read no magics. We don't want to do no god stuff. We just want to punch things with an axe.
Nah, man, I'm a tiefling.
I
I get
just
2
want
spells
to be
and
the
that's enough.
center of attention, so I always play a bard.
That was a spot on impression of me.
Yeah, pretty good. Can I, Jason? I can hit you with a little Google Foo if you want.
What do you got?
So in real life, Duraga was another name for Ahriman, which is a Zoroastrian god of evil. And Ahriman means destructive or evil spirit. And as we all know, Zoroastrianism is the study of the prophet Zoroaster. So that's where he comes from.
Absolutely.
From Babylonian stuff.
Awesome.
Google Foo!
Jack went one page deeper than I felt like going at 2:00 in the morning.
That's fair.
Yeah, man. Zoroaster and Friedrich Nietzsche. That's like all I read.
I thought I hate with a little Google Foo. It's neat.
Awesome.
Basically, well, the thing that it works really well because he's like this super angry dude, it seems like. And he's also related to like the fucking god of anger and like destructive evil spirit.
See, I don't see Bane as being angry. I think I see him more as like a calculated.
I don't know. I feel like he's more of like a worship me or I'll murder you kind of dude.
Oh, vengeful, yes, but I don't think vengeful and anger are the same thing.
That's fair.
I see him as a very like stone-faced stoic.
I think vengeful is a kind of anger.
Yeah, no one's ever been like, I'm having a great time. I'm also vengeful.
It's like, ha 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 ha, I'll kill you. I might be smiling.
You can have a good time while being vengeful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you're still a little angry.
He doesn't seem to live in it up type either. I wonder what he's doing with that immortality.
I wonder what he's up to now.
Being a punk bitch is what.
I wonder how he's doing.
He's bowling.
He's fucking bowling.
He's bowling.
He's like, yeah, check out my bowling ball. It looks like a skull.
He has to.
Anybody gets a strike
and the pins
when
don't fall over. He just intimidates them into doing it.
Yeah.
No, around where he doesn't get a strike, but somebody else does, they're dead.
Roll intimidation check to get a spare.
All right, so I don't think Bane uses bowling balls. I think he just has like
a skull.
Captured worshippers of other gods come up and just rips their heads off and throws them down the alley.
They were actually the skulls of liches.
Liches, yeah, but
So
how many liches are there?
So if you're rolling a skull, that is not a very symmetrical object. So I feel like to get it super far, like, are they measuring the sideways length? Are they measuring just as far as you can go? I mean, that is not a symmetrical thing, though.
I would think it goes by like javelin and hammer throw rules.
I think honestly,
it's just
he's
probably
from
the
kind of guy that could throw a brick down a bowling alley and still get a strike.
All I can imagine now is that like the 2 fingers are in the eye holes and the ones in the mouth.
Obviously.
Yeah.
There's the thing. If you're keeping score for that bowling game and he doesn't get a strike, are you marking it as the not strike?
Hey, you stepped over the line.
Yeah.
The skull rolls straight.
We live in a society of rules.
We live in a society of rules.
It's over the line.
Don't you dare mark it.
I think it would just be us sitting there, be like, I'm not going to mark it. You going to mark it? I ain't marking it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna mark it. No, hell no. Look at this dude. He's bowling skulls. I'm not messing with this guy.
But good job, Jason. Yeah,
Thank you.
That was very informative.
I
thought he was fun, and I hope.
Oh yeah,
that,
he's certainly fun.
I hope that nothing bad happens to my character for stealing one of their shields.
Oh, you're.
He's definitely one of my top 3 Banes.
Yeah.
He's about to be the bane of Jason's existence.
Hi-yo.
I was born in the Forgotten Realms.
No one's done it. I had to do it once.
Fair. That's fair. Josie with the big 3. What do you
Am
got?
I up? Oh, look at me go. It's better than a 1.
All right, listen, okay?
It's at least 2
okay.
better than a 1.
I started out this podcast with a 1, so
Yeah, great. I'm the new Josie. Great.
there are worse things to be.
She's got a better beard.
She does. It's nice.
It's beautiful. It's luscious. I put oil in it every day.
I can't tell if she's just being generally sarcastic or making fun of us.
Oh,
Yes.
wait, I am the only one without a beard. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yes, 2.5
What do you
beards
got
in the
first,
show.
kiddo?
Oh, so I actually have a god from the Theros universe, which is loosely based on Greek mythology. But before I get into the character, I do want to talk a little bit about piety. It's a pretty simple system. I think it was introduced in Theros in it's the Mythic Odysseys of Theros. That's what it's called.
I'll put a cool little thing on your voice when you say that.
Thank you. Okay, good. So,
And then I'll leave in this part where I say I'm going to put the effects on the voice.
Can you make me sound like a cool robot?
The mythical god of Theros.
No, I already sound like that. All right, so
Okay, I'm getting flashbacks to your potion shops.
So piety is a measure of your devotion to the god of your choice. There's a whole bunch of gods that are specific to just Theros. It's marked by a score that starts at 1 for any god that you decide to devote yourself to. The score that increases by increments of 1 and can be gained in a couple of different ways, either by the completion of a significant goal or a significant sacrifice of your own self-interest. Each god has different things that you can gain or earn piety with them. All right, piety has a few different benefits for characters. They're not given without some effort. You probably will only be earning like 1 piety point a session. You get different rewards depending on your god at thresholds of 3, 10, 25, and 50. But if you do something that pisses off your god, you lose piety points. So that was just a brief overview. Theros is an adventure that's very religion heavy, as it introduced the piety system. But there isn't a lot of mythos around the gods that I could find. It's mostly just like the play mechanics. The god I picked is Keranos, the god of storms and epiphany. I think he's actually originally a Magic the Gathering card. Yes, he is associated with blue and red mana. I don't know very much.
Mana.
I don't know anything about Magic the Gathering. I think I've played
Never
it,
played a day in my life.
I know
I've
a
played
lot,
it
but I
2
think
whole times, and I did okay. But if you ask
Blue
me,
has a lot of mill and red has a lot of like direct attack to face.
I had
so
a
much of that
Yuan
has
deck.
changed in the years, but I'm trying to find any cards with Theros in it. He definitely came around after I stopped playing, but
well, Ravnica I know is the Magic the Gathering expansion for D&D, but
yeah, this
D&D
one
did this stuff in the Ravnica universe, which is a fascinating universe, even just as the Magic game.
oh, I love
Theros is
me
a
those
very
Loxodons.
Greek, a very Greek inspired universe. I am currently in a campaign for it, but Keranos, the big guy, he's actually an intermediate deity. Heliod is way above him, but he's a combination of the lightning and storm aspects of Zeus and the prophecy aspects of Apollo. He's said to embody the fury of the storm and the sudden blaze of epiphany, but he's also very fickle. He dispenses insight and lightning in equal measure. He doesn't get along with any of the other gods. He doesn't like them. And he doesn't like humans that much either. He thinks they're a little reckless. But
Yeah, they're a virus on there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, we're not going to get we're not going to get too much into that. But
fuck humans.
Yeah, like a little bit, but it's okay.
I tried
bro,
it.
All the time.
Bro, have you met humans? Fuck them.
fuck him. If you can't be one, fuck him. I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's. I agree with that.
So he sees humans as reckless, but he respects the ones who take action with a clear purpose, especially if they seek his approval first. He usually aligns with like chaotic neutral as he does his own thing, but like isn't really like a good or bad. It's just at his whim. His vision he has for the world is his and his alone. So like his worshippers are meant to fulfill his vision, not so much like their own. He's usually worshipped by cunning and knowledgeable mortals. He's invoked during a storm by those who seek safety from it, or by people faced with a difficult problem. He is described as unhindered by compassion or patience, which he sounds honestly like a really great guy, someone I would take to a coffee shop, maybe get a latte with.
Mm-hmm.
No, please don't.
Nothing like a nice misanthropic, all-powerful person for a coffee date.
But like a lot of the information through dndbeyond.com requires me to purchase the book, so I could only look at like little snippets. He's a deity that can be portrayed as either like a benevolent deity, or he could be a villain in the campaign. Spoilers. Mercurial. He is as his storms are. And there was actually a really cool quote I found from Raclia of Shrine Peak. The hand of Karanos can be seen in every rumbling storm cloud, best not to stand where he points. And I think that's a pretty apt description of him. But like I said, there isn't a lot of mythos about him, just like game mechanics. So like, if you were to play a follower of Karanos in the Theros campaigns, ways to earn piety with him heads up are solving riddles or puzzles, defeating an unwise or foolish person in his name, helping the polis plan for or adapt to a threat successfully, and building or restoring a temple to Karanos. And ways as you can lose piety with him are jeopardizing others through rash or foolish actions, subvert or impede a wise course of action willingly, fail to plan appropriately for a challenge, or give in to fury and destruction. So anything that doesn't account for like wisdom, if you're just acting like a dumb hoe and you're one of his followers, he's gonna be a little pissed off.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I said last episode that all D&D characters eventually become like anime characters as they level up.
Well, that's the end goal.
Are all D&D like player characters not dumb hoes?
I certainly am.
Yeah, I play one for sure. Like,
Same.
we're talking about playing one.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
I'm
a dumb hoe in real life too.
On TV. I don't know what you're talking about.
I just play one on TV.
But Karanos, I think, is a fun deity to worship because he is not the kind of person that like he's like, you're like, hey, like, wish me luck, and he goes, no fuck up, so you're dead. And you're like, I can't tell if you're joking. And then you fuck off. I like deities like that because anytime I've played a cleric, it's like a reluctant cleric where it's like, I didn't choose the deity life. The deity life chose me. They went, hello, yes, I'm here. And now you're going to do what I want with your life.
Word, yeah. It's, I know absolutely nothing about the Theros setting, but it's also like super interesting to see how storm gods are like represented in each different setting or incarnation of Dungeons and Dragons, because he sounds wildly different than Talos from Forgotten Realms, who's just
yes, 100%.
That's who I was thinking of.
Just a fucking dick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's not the nicest of guys.
No, just I'm gonna destroy everything and fuck you.
And this guy's like, fuck
Deal with
all
it.
you guys except for a couple of you smart fuckers over here. I know we said to keep the swearing to a minimum, but I like
this is a
cannot
swear
help
heavy
it.
episode.
Yeah, I don't care.
This is the nighttime episode. It gets a little more
this
adult
is
here.
podcasting after
Because we're
dark.
recording
And I've
it
had a
at night.
glass of wine.
This is the Dungeons and Curmudgeons or Curmudgeons and Dragons, but PM.
Yeah. Curmudgeons and Dragons After Dark.
We've changed the name.
Yeah, this is like the taxi cab confessions of
Oh
episodes.
yeah,
Oh.
we're sitting in the backseat after a few bars right now. It's not great.
Oh, if we were in the back of the taxi cab, I'd be ripping tequila shots. I don't know where I put that.
Couldn't
Good
imagine where you
times.
put that.
We'll
We're just
find
about
out
done with our
later.
beers,
I mean,
too.
we're podcasting.
Stay
I'm just
tuned.
eating shitty Dominoes. Like, yeah, that's about a summary of
Any other kind of Dominoes? Name one other Domino.
I don't think there is. No, as we said before the episode, I'm a real purist about pizza, and this is so satisfying. Though
Food is food. As long as we can all agree that the best pizza is pizza Lunchable.
No.
I would actually. Here's the thing.
No,
So
it's
my
not.
pizza hierarchy
I'm
in
going.
order. Absolute number one is going to be some local.
Pizza Lunchable. Got it.
some local, mom and pop shop in New Jersey, followed by some local shop you can walk into in New York, followed by Pizza Lunchables, followed by anything from Chicago.
I'll take it.
No,
I'll take
disgusting.
That. I'll
You
take a
get
third
that
place. I'll take a
Chicago
third place finish.
bullshit out of here.
I'll
Anything
keep
else
Pizza
doesn't count
Lunchables
as
at
pizza.
third. All right, so
Chicago certainly doesn't count as pizza. We already talked that that's a casserole.
There's only 3 pizzas.
all
I
right,
am
so
throwing shit.
New Haven, Connecticut pizza, all other pizza, Pizza Lunchables, Chicago.
Dude, I'll take third place. I'll take third place all day, dude. That's a bronze medal. I'm on the podium.
Yeah.
People know
I'll
my
give
name.
I'll give it third. It's better than deep dish.
I will say that the pies that they'll make you in like 5 minutes at 7-Eleven at 2:00 in the morning
Yeah, not bad.
have
Drunk
no
food doesn't count. That's
Bro,
not
they-
real food. You could
No,
eat
it's not real
literally
pizza, it's
eat
not real food.
soggy
It
cardboard
tastes really good.
at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
drunk.
And if you can't
And it would be
sleep, if you
okay.
can't sleep, go get a 7-Eleven pizza.
Yeah.
You'll be out
How's
for a
that
day and a half.
How's that next day treating you?
Oh, not good.
Yeah.
We're not talking about
Clear
the
your
next day. We're talking about that
schedule.
night. This is an immediate gratification kind of thing.
Clear your schedule because you're clearing your bowels.
Follow me for more for more fitness tips.
Yep. So this is when we lost everyone right here, right? This was the moment that we lost everybody.
I hope so.
Just double checking.
Josie, that was awesome.
That was great. Yeah.
From like I said, I played Magic for a very long time, and the Theros expansions came out a couple years after I stopped. I stopped in about 2011, and the Theros block came out in late 2013. Looks like. But yeah, Keranos does have his own card. Doesn't look particularly game breaking, but it's it's got some big effects on it. And a lot of the other gods, some of them will have cards. Theros himself does not. There is a follower of Theros card that seems pretty good. But yeah, that's the block where the game designer Mark Rosewater talks about top down design and bottom up design, where bottom up starts from game mechanics and then goes all the way up to like literally the top of the card, which is the name. So they decide what they want to do with the cards and how they want them to work with the rest of the game, and then design their way up to the flavor. This one was a top-down design, which he usually prefers to do. So they knew they wanted a block that was based on Greek mythology. And so they started with that, and then just kind of created their own gods in a style of Greek mythology, and then went to artwork, and then, looking at the artwork and seeing how...
Oh, the artwork is beautiful. I kept coming across it while I was
it's
doing
awesome.
my research.
Yep. And then just kind of went down into what the cards actually do, into everything else. So this was their Greek mythology set, which is one of the first things you said too.
Yeah. But can he beat a Blue Eyes White Dragon?
So we've actually done Magic deck.
I can just rip the card
drunk
in half.
drunk Magic players. Drunk Magic players at a kitchen table.
War flashbacks.
We have played a Magic deck versus a Yu-Gi-Oh deck. And Magic takes a long time to get to 20 damage, but Yu-Gi-Oh can do like 2,000 damage on the first turn.
Yeah.
And we played Magic rules, so I was only at 20 life, and he hit me for like 1,500 on turn 1. I'm like, this is broken. I should just play this deck. I'm going to bring this deck to the tournament.
Oh my God, playing in 2 different games against each other is broken.
Who'd have
My
thought?
lord.
Then I had to do a saving
Blue Eyes
throw.
White Dragon. White
Yeah.
Dragon attack, or whatever the fuck he says.
Red Eyes Black Dragon, and then the dark
Red Eyes
magician.
Black Dragon.
Yeah.
Oh my
Little
God.
Joey.
Fucking Joey.
Serenity. I'm coming.
For the rematch, we had him play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I play kickboxing.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Oh, how'd that go for you then?
Still fucking lost.
Did you go to the Shadow Realm?
Realm? You didn't trust in the heart of your cards, dude.
No,
Just
no,
You gotta
sir.
trust in the heart of the card.
See,
Gotta trust in the heart of
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Ralph
doesn't
Macchio.
destroy you physically; it destroys you mentally.
Yep. First one, then the other.
I
Fuck
hated
you.
Joey. Hey, Yugi.
Joey has a spot in everybody's heart. I will fight
They
all.
basically made like the most generic Coming from New York, it was a tad bit offensive. I was like, no one talks like that.
That's an extremely yeah. No, I mean we don't. Yeah,
No, you know who
can-
talks
Hey,
like
that
that?
get us, like, a
You know who
little
talks
close.
like that?
cards over
People from
here.
Staten Island that talk like that. That's what my cousins talk like.
Infuriating. I bet they don't.
Hi, Brianna.
But Tristan
Oh, no.
and Taya, what about them? Huh?
You do that
Huh,
so
Yugi?
well. I need you to stop. I'm having flashbacks.
We do.
Oh,
I'm a
God.
destroyer dark magician, Yugi.
You doing Yugi's in charge?
I can't.
Oh, look, it's the blonde woman with the huge boobs. I've seen twice. I love her.
Oh, how do I follow this up? I can't follow
We're about to
this
find out.
material
Josie,
up.
thank you very much. That was awesome.
All right, I'm done.
Oh my God.
Just ride that Yu-Gi-Oh high.
Jack, go ahead and follow that.
Oh yeah, great. Well, I mean, so I'm actually really excited about this deity. So we basically went from luck to what I like to call fuck. So I picked Sharess. So I'm gonna, as a little visual aid for people, this is Sharess's symbol in the Forgotten Realms.
He's
Oh,
showing
and
us a
for
picture of
an-
lips. It
Nice.
looks like something out of
Give you the audio.
looks like
Big
it's
old pair of lips.
it's something out of the first 30 seconds of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
And that's what she looks like.
That's
Ooh, babe.
that's a cat woman with some booblies on her.
Yeah, she's a
And
bad
purple hair.
So
Bleach.
I
Oh my
basically, when we said that we were doing the deities episode, I Googled like D&D cat deity, and this is what came up because I like cats a lot. So this is just perfect for me. And it also so happened to be the deity of hedonism, fest halls, and sensual fulfillment.
Really?
So Sharess is the
Did
deity
you
of
say that
hedonism,
again
fest halls,
with
and
less crackling?
sensual fulfillment.
Thank you.
AKA the dancing lady, the patroness of fest halls, the fest hall madam, the mother of cats, the foe of Set, the lustful mistress, the feline of felicity, which is a weird title for me, the succubus of sensation, the best title for me, and the
I
tawny
like that one.
temptress. Yeah, the old succubus of sensation.
It sounds like you're introducing her for a wrestling match.
Honestly,
Yeah,
I
pretty much.
love a madam.
Welcome to the stage, the succubus of sensation, Sharess.
Beautiful. 11. out of
Jack,
10.
Jack, you had me as suck.
Yeah, there you go. All
Wow.
right. So a little bit about her. She has a very individualistic and hedonistic personality of a feline, and she was constantly grooming herself to ensure her appearance was always up to standards. Sharess was an innate flirt and loved toying around with beautiful mortals. Once she had her fill, she swiftly moved on to other sources of pleasure, aka the goddess of Tinder. She was known in the Mulhorandi pantheon as Bass. So the Mulhorandi, for people who don't know, is just another area of the Forgotten Realms, more of like an eastern kind of area, and it's just
Yeah,
like different
it's outside
gods and names.
Toril, right? Like it's outside
Yeah.
of the main continent.
So it's just another area of it. So she was referred to as Bast within the Mulhorandi pantheon. So she's also depicted as a beautiful, voluptuous woman with the head of a cat, especially in Mulhoran. So in normal stuff, she's kind of more of like a very busty, normal woman, but her main following was within Mulhoran, and she is basically just like set, like just like cat head, like cool,
Oh, yeah,
sick,
she is
hot
set.
lady body. Yeah, she's set.
She's
So a little bit
fucking
about her
set.
history. So she was originally known as Bast, a Mulhorandi power who was the patroness of cats, and Anher's lieutenant. So Anher, also known as Ramathan and Thay, he was kind of like a god of power. So he was like usually portrayed as like the symbol of a scimitar, like the general of the gods, like champion of physical prowess. So like a very physical god in Mulhoran. During the Second Mulhorandi Empire, she subsumed the portfolio of Felidae, Felidae, so basically, subset from a cat, beast cult deity of felines, nomads, and sensual pleasure. Struck by wanderlust, Bast traveled across Faerun, leaving many cults in her wake. During these travels, she also subsumed the divinity of Zandalar the Dancer, a goddess of the Year Elves. So within those Year Elves, she's kind of like a bluish, kind of green goddess. So she's in multiple like sects of like deities and things like that. Gaining that goddess portfolio of intense, passionate love. After Mithranor fell, she began to experiment with the darker side of pleasure and fell under the sway of Shar. Shar within the Forgotten Realms is basically the mistress of the night, kind of like a dark, like goddess of darkness and caverns and things like that. She became known as Sharess, so she basically brought her name Sharess from Shar. During the time of troubles, soon freed Sharess from Shar's influence when the former tried to assassinate Sharess. Due to her reluctance to become completely dominated by the goddess of shadow, soon doused Sharess with a chalice filled with water from Evandor's Evergold that restores Sharess's beauty and willpower, giving her the will and edge to rebel against her mistress. Basically, quick summary is Shar is a goddess of the night, controlled Sharess. She was able to break free from that, maintain her, her deity-ness. Her relationships, as Bash, she opposed the evil Set along with other good aligned gods of that nation. Her general alignment in things is a chaotic good. So she generally sides like a lot of chaotic good gods and deities.
Chaotic good seems right for a cat.
Yeah. Wait, did you
Yeah,
say?
pretty
Did you
much.
say
Best
Set?
alignment.
Yeah, she opposed the evil Set.
Okay, because he's Egyptian pantheon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I know they adapted some of it for Forgotten Realms.
They
neat.
have to pull it from
super
somewhere.
neat.
So like
Yeah.
a lot of the what am I looking for? The not motivation. Can't think of a word. But they pull a lot of stuff from like IRL things in history.
Yeah, well, yeah, like so, like
Inspiration.
Taiki and mine.
Inspiration.
Yeah,
That's a word. There it is.
it's actually a D&D term.
Yeah, there you go. So
Yeah, that's my first thought too when you said her name was Bast, which is the shortened version of Bastet.
Bastet.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So she had a close relationship
Egyptian.
with Nobanian. So Nobanian was like the king of beasts, lord of the lions, things like that. So go figure that the goddess of the cats and sex likes the lord of lions. Weird, I know. Who shared her interest in felines. So Sharess did not as much annoy him as she did to entice him. She had a romantic relationship with Anhur, who again was a god I talked about previously. But their opinion of each other varied wildly from absolute love to indifference, depending on how many fights they had. And if that's not just an absolute, I like cats, you like cats, but I like you and I also hate you. I mean, that's basically a good look into my marriage. It's super healthy. It's fine.
That's just a normal relationship in your 30s.
I didn't know you were married to your cat.
Yeah, I am. He's my sweet little boy, and I love him very much. So they have worshippers and things like that. So the Church of Sharess was of casual nature, and their clergy were responsible for the running of many fest halls found throughout large cities in Faerun. Basically, anytime you went to like a really big party, a good like big hangout, the
I was never
worshippers of
invited.
Sharess. Yeah, well, I mean, high school was a tough time. The Church of Sharess was generally the group running those like big fest halls, big party halls, things like that. Because again, they followed like hedonism. They basically were like, we're having a good time. We're not bad people. We like cats. We like fucking. Let's party. That's pretty much sums up.
But we like
Who
those two
doesn't?
things separately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are not together.
Important distinction.
Yeah. So these fest halls sought to indulge every pleasure imaginable. Privately owned fest halls usually employed at least one or two Sharessen clerics. The Church of Sharess probably celebrated the most festivals out of all the fates of Faerun. These revels were known collectively as the endless revels of life. Even daily events such as the rising and setting of the sun presented a chance for Sharessens to revel. Basically, anything that you could like or be like, hey, let's party about this, they were like, totally. The sun came up, the sun goes down, that's 2 parties a day at a minimum. That's pretty much what they're into. Their most beloved festival was the Midsummer's Eve Festival, where the pursuit of pleasure had no boundary. And then generally, Sharessen clerics, their big time to pray and worship was at dusk, kind of like the setting into the night. So she didn't have any like big orders associated with her. She was more of like a created kind of god. But like I said, so her aspects in the house again were Basset, Philander, and Zandalar the dancer. She had like a big like worshipping in like 3E, just from like a strictly D&D standpoint. She was big time in 3E. 5E again, when you lost a lot of that deity worshipping, she kind of went to the side. There's an event called the Sundering, which is basically 3-5 going into 5 kind of. So the Sundering kind of lost a lot of her like followers and things like that. She's a deity in the domain of war. She's considered a demigod. Her symbol is the cat. Her portfolio revolves around cats and vengeance and hedonist and fucking and stuff like that. And that's pretty much what I went with. So she was like, I enjoyed her as a goddess because she was like this, as she embodied cats, sex, drinking, parties. Like she was a cool chick.
All the good stuff.
She was
Pretty
basically a deviant art page run wild.
Yeah, her dogma is kind of nice because it's like life to be is lived to its fullest, in decadent sensual fulfillment of yourselves and others. That which is good is pleasurable, and that which is pleasurable is good. Pleasure is to be sought out at every opportunity, and life is to be lived as one endless revel. Spread the bounty of Sharess so that all may join in the endless revel of life and bring joy to all those in pain. Infinite experiences await those who would explore, so try the new as well as savoring the old.
These furries are onto something.
I can't imagine why parents in the 80s had a problem with Dungeons and Dragons.
Weird, right? It's just so weird.
So I just got to bring up. You had said that her the festivals that celebrate her and stuff. There was like no I forget exactly the word you used, but it's like, yeah, no boundaries or no.
Well, that
no
was
limits
so
or what.
Midsummer's Festival was their big one. So they basically the endless revels of life were like their like collective term for their revelry. Like, you know, sun setting, sun rising. Hey, I got a D- on my test, like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But their big like no holds barred, like basically Burning Man festival was called Midsummer's Eve.
Okay. So just to get in line with, what we typically talk about once we're off the air, does that include butt stuff?
It probably does.
Go back to our first
Probably
episode.
does.
We talked about all that a lot on the air also. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on, wait a
So,
minute.
yeah.
That was like,
No holds barred.
5
and
days
you're
ago,
like,
man. I
So
don't
we
know.
can do butt stuff.
as
the
if
Charest.
that's the limit.
oh, look, it's Charest.
That's
It's
the
me.
that's
Hi,
just
Grog.
that's just the
The
pinky in
goddess
the
of
doorway.
revelry.
Oh, that's baby.
But yeah, so she was. My inspiration for this strictly did not come from like, oh, I played this or I was into it. It was like Cat God D&D, and that's what I
Oh,
found.
bro,
so that's what I researched.
She's dope, and I've been I've been trying to build a Tabaxi player for our PC for some time. So, thank you for that. That's going to
You're
be
welcome.
very useful for me.
Yeah, I thought she was cool. Like nice, simple. You know, she basically came from around the time of like the beginning of 1048 DR, and like she was like pre-sundering. So there's kind of like a beginning and an end to like the followings.
Indeed, she did basically come. Yes.
and it's nice to have a god that just like has a very simple agenda. It's not really trying to do some huge grandiose things that shake up the whole demiverse.
No,
and-
that's kind of also what I liked. Like it was just like, hey, we like to party, and she was a hot lady with a cat head. I mean, at the end of the day, like sign me up. Like, what's up?
Watch out for the teeth.
Yeah, they'll get you. But no, I enjoyed that it was a more like down to earth kind of demigod, where it was kind of like, oh hey, like there's stuff that like I'm a thunder god and I'm storms and like I am rage, and this chick's just like,
I'm
I
cat
don't know, I
fucking.
like cats and I like to party.
I like fucking and I like felines.
Dude, sometimes you just gotta, you gotta pet kitties, touch titties and make 50s.
Well, Jack, thanks for that image in my head forever.
You're welcome.
If only they let the cats wander the strip clubs.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, today's episode was a deep dive. We're going to try another one of these next month. Maybe we'll do something else like this. We'll find some more
Yeah.
guys. Maybe we'll do patrons. We'll do,
Or is it brought to you by Justin?
DNDBeyond.com.
no, it's not, but it should be. So you guys are D&D
If I
Beyond
keep
listening.
saying it, it will be, Jason.
No, you keep saying it. They
Self-fulfilling
won't have to.
prophecy.
Okay. You don't give it away for free. Plus, we didn't
This
even
is
use them in
brought
this
to you
episode.
by us.
Yeah.
The podcast is brought to you by
Support us.
Capital One. Capital
No,
One.
fuck Capital
It's a
One.
bad credit card
If
company.
you
Brought to you
see
by-
me on the
Brought to you by
street,
literally no
hand me
one. Brought to you by-
$10 and say, thank you very much.
It's brought to you by the tears and labor of these four people you're listening to right now. So
Yeah, that's what I
Mostly
said.
It's brought to you by Jason. It's brought to you by
It's
Jason.
brought to you by Jason. He's the one that dragged us all together.
I did literally drag you guys.
Yeah, you might still have that chunk of my hair in your driveway.
I bought that fair and square.
Mm-hmm.
No, we got rid of that so the cops didn't find it.
I don't
Good,
want
good.
that.
Guys,
I
we're
didn't
gonna
say
call it
nothing.
we're going to call it here for today. We're going to have a new episode for you next week. I'm not really sure what that one's going to be about, but I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully.
Yes.
We'll see how it goes. If I
Alrighty.
get any new inspiration, Justin and I are getting our vaccines this weekend. So if we get any inspiration beamed to us from space through the injection sites,
Or COVID, either one.
We
Whichever.
can
already
still
had that.
record if you have
we're
COVID.
done with that.
Watch out for those microchips.
Yep. Can't wait.
Goddamn 5G.
I have so many things to say. I'm gonna wait till we're off the air.
No, we have to end. Save them next episode.
Yeah.
I'll have a
Anyway,
list.
see you guys next week. Same
Yeah.
bad time. Same bad channel.
Same bad boys.
Jesus Christ, guys. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time.
Love you.
Konnichiwa, bitches.
Later.
It's sayonara, you son of a bitch.
Thank you for listening to Curmudgeons and Dragons. Our hosts are Jason Portizo, Justin Franco, Jack O'Connell, and Josie Diaz. Produced and edited by Jason Portizo. Theme music is Crunk Night by Kevin McLeod. Link to the song and license information can be found in the podcast show notes and YouTube description. If you like what you heard, please subscribe and leave a rating. Curmudgeons and Dragons is a JTP audio production. Practice safe adventuring, and remember, don't trust the bard with a twinkle in his eye.
This has been a JTP Audio podcast. Thanks for listening.